He gave me answers that surprised me, as you can imagine, having spent every night with them for the last 6 months. But it did give me the opportunity to just sort of reflect deeply on those things. As I went home, I was pretty miserable because I thought, oh my God, how do you make this decision? And maybe the easiest decision is for me to not make a decision at all. That Tuesday I'll go in the voting booth and push a button and wish us all well, but that's not leadership. And I've spent my entire career in political advocacy. And the one thing that I've learned as an advocate is all too many times I don't get to vote on the question I wish was before me. I wish the question before me was, am I going to support me for mayor? That wasn't the question that I got. The question was, would I support these other two people who ran the race with me and who came by their votes honestly and through their own hard work? So I decided that as a leader that I needed to at least express what my decision is and who I'm going to support. And you'll note that I'm not with either candidate here today. I've not spoken with either candidate about my decision. That's probably not fair. I'm sure they're sitting at home wondering why the hell I won't call. But I wanted this to be my decision, and I didn't want it to be any other thing. So here's how I made my decision. When I decided to get into this race, I decided to get into the race because I was concerned about how Atlanta was growing, and that we were growing in a haphazard way. We hadn't expanded transit. The Beltline, which is a project so dear to my heart, had really lost its way, and that decisions were being made, or not decisions being made at City Hall, that were really confounding the growth in this beautiful city and leaving people behind. When I think about the candidate that I think addresses that issue the best of the two of these, I think Mary Norwood is that candidate. She's attended all of the city design meetings. She's been an advocate and interested in the Atlanta Beltline since the days that I began this project, and working with Ryan Gravel on the project. And I just think that she has a better sense and a better curiosity about city building, and I think that's important. Then I thought about the other issues that I got into the race about, and social justice and income inequality was the second thing that made me get into this race. Because as we think about how we grow, we have to think about who gets to be successful in that growth. And I think that we've really crystallized that conversation in an amazing way. And I want to congratulate the people, the housing advocates in particular, for taking an issue that really wasn't on people's radar screen to making it a central factor in this race. When I think about those issues, I'm going to give Keisha a slight edge in that, because I think because we are a majority black city, that black leadership matters, that representation matters. As the first openly gay elected official in the state of Georgia, I know I was able to do things that no one else would do purely because I was at the table. And I know that that matters. And so I give Keisha the points on that. The third thing, and the final thing, that I think is the tiebreaker in this is the issue of ethics and integrity at City Hall. And I give that one to Mary Norwood. In all of her years at City Hall, she has managed to stay true. Periodically, everybody makes mistakes, but I have not seen a pattern of mismanagement or decisions that I feel like have been unethical. I feel like the lack of transparency at the City Hall has crushed the spirit of our city. And I feel like we need a very clean break with this administration and a new start here with a fresh set of players. And so because of that analysis, and because I feel like I need to make a decision for myself, I'm voting for Mary Norwood. And I hope everybody will go through their own analysis of who they think they're going to support, not based on flipping coins or other things, or sitting at home and not making a choice at all. I hope people will really think about what's important to them and make that decision. And so that's the decision I've made. I'm here to tell you, and I appreciate the fact that you're interested, and I thank you for participating in this election. And I'm sure there's questions. Sean?
Yeah, you said that not a lot of the answers last night surprised you, so I'm wondering what kind of discovery you made during the panel discussion that really opens your eyes and helps you decide who you're going to pick.
You know, it actually wasn't anything that happened last evening. It was my sitting myself down and making me think through very critically what's important to me. And that's how I did it.
Did you do it last night, this morning?
I did it about 5 minutes ago on the roof of the parking deck. I still entertain... Seriously, I did entertain the notion of not endorsing anyone. I'd like to be useful to either campaign, whoever becomes mayor. But I also realize that, again, abdicating leadership by not making a decision really isn't who I am.
So regarding the ethics, Cathy, you said it's not that Keisha has had any ethical lapses, it's just that her connection with the current administration.
Well, she has had ethical lapses, and I'm trying to be polite because I don't want this to be a negative conversation, but there has been a pattern of decision making that I feel is of concern for somebody who's a leader of the city.
Has all the background noise about party affiliation been distracting?
I think it's a real concern. I think it's a concern to think about as we go through this. But I don't think it's the ultimate decision. This is a nonpartisan race, and I think we do have to try to look through that lens. But it's a big concern. But to me, it wasn't the primary concern.
You have been close to Shirley Franklin, I know, for many, many years. Did that play a role in your decision making?
It did not. I think by now everybody should know I keep my own counsel. Thank you.
I know how you feel.
What's next for you after your Arctic trip? Do you want to work in this building or maybe in that building, or what's next?
I think this is my ambulance coming. I'll just wait. When I started to run for this race, I said to everyone, I want to be mayor of Atlanta at this time, and that I could have run 8 years ago or 4 years ago, and I didn't because I wanted to be mayor now. That time has passed. I gave it a good run. I didn't get to do it, and so that's over. I would be interested in finding out if there is a role for me to play at City Hall, but I have not discussed that in detail. And I have absolutely no interest in ever returning to the General Assembly again. That's a promise I made to myself. You will not see me there on purpose in January. And, I'm just looking to figure out what's next. But I really want to win the polar expedition, so I hope you guys will put my link out on your social media so I can win.
Do you have any concerns about Mary Norwood being sufficiently progressive?
I don't. I worry sometimes about the people around her not being sufficiently progressive, but I don't worry about her.
Could you elaborate on that?
No. That's just it. It's really not a big mystery. I don't worry about her in that regard.
Where do you come down on the tug of war between economic development and social justice? Gentrification versus affordable housing, that whole dynamic?
I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think that we have had parts of this city that have been neglected, where investment hasn't happened, where we have let schools fail, where we have been okay with letting poor parts of town be poor parts of town. And I just don't think it has to be that way. And one of the things I feel so strongly about for Atlanta is that we should be the world leader on how to solve global poverty. We've got international development organizations. I worked for CARE in global poverty. There are things that we can do, and people should be looking to Atlanta to say, oh, look at how they're innovating. Look what they did with this issue. And we just need to be brave enough to take some risk and do some things. So that's my biggest hope for Atlanta, is that whoever's mayor, is that we get really serious about this. and that we become the global leader on solving this problem. It is complex. It's not unique to Atlanta. There are federal and state forces that work against our best intentions. But I'd like for us to be the global leader on how to address poverty.
During the campaign, you were like every candidate's favorite person. You know, they all
Yeah.
said who they want to be in their administration would be you.
Yeah.
Have you had any thoughts about what you would like to do in somebody's administration?
I think, you know, fighting for ATL is what I'm interested in. Affordability, transportation, livability, and then my ATL ends with E, and ethics. You know, I'm always interested in innovation. I'm really interested in collaboration and how things work together to make a greater whole. So if I had a chance to do something, it would be in all the areas that I've expressed great passion about. But it would probably be a more a role that would allow me to go beyond one particular category of how I might help. Any questions?
You know, everybody asks some really good questions. My thing is, are you going to work actively for Mary Norwood on the campaign trail, or is this more of a, okay, I've made my decision now, I'm going to leave it up to my voters, whom you've described as very smart and very capable of thinking for themselves?
Keith, I wanted a nap after this. I was hoping 10:30 was going to be the end of the conversation. I don't know. I will call her after this press conference and have a conversation with her about how I might be helpful. I will also call Keisha because I do have deep respect for her and I like her very much. And so it's a painful decision, but it is the decision that I made. Well, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. And again, it's been wonderful being a part of this campaign and getting to renew acquaintances with you all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I really wanted somebody to